Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the November 2020 release by the Don Deeva. These are available right now, so in the description box below I will link the Don Deeva site, I will link their Instagram page. I have a monster attacking my camera! And I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from this collection. We do have 15 polishes to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have Scorpio AF, and this is described as a deep maroon polish with a maroon shimmer and a splash of hollow, and this one will be $12. So here's our first coat of Scorpio AF. This one is very opaque here on this first coat, completely opaque into for me. Very smooth, easy to work with formula, no running, pulling, or staining. You are going to want top coat to finish this off. It does help the hollow stand out, but it doesn't dry textured or it's difficult to remove, so there's 2 coats. Next up we have Topaz, and this is described as a creamy nude crelly base flooded with gold, copper, and red chrome flakes, as well as gold shimmer. Here's our first coat of Topaz. You get a ton of these flakes out. They're very easy to spread out across the nail. There's a boatload of them, so they do cover really well on this first coat. I got this one completely opaque in 2 coats. You'll want top coat to smooth this out. It does dry a little bit on the dull side as well, but removal on this one is also going to be easy. So there's 2 coats. Next up we have Trust Issues, and this is described as a multi-chrome panty dropper, which is loaded with hollow and shifts through magenta, copper, purple, and blue. Here's our first coat of Trust Issues. I did move my lighting around a little bit to try to catch the shiftiness of this, but it didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would. Very opaque here on this first coat, completely opaque in 2. This one does dry on the dull side, so again, I would recommend using a top coat to finish this off. It'll also keep your manicure lasting, and removal's easy, so there's 2 coats. So up next we have Dookie, and this is described as a pearly green stuffed full of OG UP and dotted with micro red flakes. Here's our first coat of Dookie. This one does cover pretty well on this first coat. It's not completely opaque, nor like near opaque. I did do 2 coats of this. Depending on your nail line, you might want to do 3. I had a slight bit of staining on this one. If you use a base coat, I don't think that'll be an issue. I would recommend, again, top coat for this, just to keep your manicure lasting. And removal on this one is going to be very easy. Everything in here is a flake. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Casey Jones, and this is described as a sheer yet buildable polish in a dusty denim shade with OG UP, which is original unicorn pea pigment. Here's our first coat of Casey Jones. This one's pretty sheer here on this first coat. These unicorn pea pigment polishes do tend to be more on the sheer side. You need them that way to get the unicorn pea pigment to stand out to its full potential. This one's super shifty on the nails, a very beautiful polish. I love it when Don Deeva makes polishes like this. You could definitely double this one as a topper if you wanted to, but I think it's gorgeous on its own in 3. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Bxtch, and this is described as a black base. It has shifts of blue and a twinkling of hollow. Here is 1 coat of Twinkle Twinkle Little Bxtch. This is completely opaque and just 1 coat for me. If you want, you could go in for a 2nd coat to make a nice full mani. I didn't have any kind of staining. I would recommend top coat, and removal will be easy. So there's 1 coat. Up next we have Moo Cow, and this is described as a lavender gray crelly with different shape and size glitters, and the glitters in here are primarily like the blue and purple spectrum. Here is our first coat of Moo Cow. This one is a glitter crelly, so it is a little bit more on the sheer side. Formula is smooth and wonderful to work with. I had no issues with running, pulling, staining, getting the glitters to spread out evenly across the nail, anything of that sort. You could probably get this one opaque in 2 coats. I did go for 3 because I went in super thin. You will want top coat. It does dry textured, and removal is difficult, so there's 3 coats. Next up we have Go Home, I Want to Poop in Peace, and this is described as a satisfyingly smooth chocolate hollow polish. Here's our first coat of Go Home, I Want to Poop in Peace. This one is pretty pigmented on this first coat. I did get it completely opaque in two. Super holographic even when it's wet. It will dry more holographic though as it dries, and the top coat will definitely help the hollow stand out more. This will be most holographic in the sun. It'll dry dull, so I'll recommend top coat, and removal's easy, so there's two coats. Up next we have Camel Toes and Rainbows, and this is described as a mustard yellow with red to purple chrome, shifty flakies, and heavy blue shimmer. This is a solar polish, so it does turn to a blue in the sun. Here's our first coat of Camel Toes and Rainbows. This one is super pigmented on this first coat, completely opaque in two though. I will say this is a solar. I swatch at night. I didn't have any sun and my UV lamp didn't keep the color change of this one appropriately, so you don't get to see that in my photos, and I'm sorry, but I did try to capture some of it here. Up next we have Snot Rockets and Full Pockets, and this is described as a thermal that goes from this dirty brown to a lime green. There are also flecks of red and gold in here. Here is our first coat of Snot Rockets and Full Pockets. This one is very opaque here on this first coat. A smooth, easy to work with formula. Very beginner friendly on this one. I did get this opaque in two coats. You will want top coat because, as most thermals do, this one dries almost completely matte. So I would recommend that top coat. I didn't have any staining with this one, and removal on this is going to be easy. So there's two coats, and then here is the transition to this beautiful lime green color that I just can't get enough of. So there's two coats. Up next we have Fucculants, and this is described as a thermal that in the cold state it's a muted green filled with flakes that shift red to gold and orange, and then it turns peach when it's warm. Here's our first coat of Fucculants. This one's a little bit more on the sheer side on this first coat. It is going to build up nicely. Formula is smooth and easy to work with. Again, no running, pulling, or staining, and I do love this vibrant lime color. The flakes that are in here stand out really nice. This is, again, a matte, or it is a thermal, so it is going to dry matte. I would recommend top coat. Complete opacity in three coats, and removal on this one is going to be easy. So here is a quick transition to that beautiful peachy shade, and there's three coats. Up next we have Fxck Anxiety, and this is described as a thermal that in the cold state is a calming deep charcoal, perfectly matched with green and blue flakes as well as red microflakes, and then this one turns a violet when it's warm. Here's our first coat of Fxck Anxiety. This one is a little bit sheer here on this first coat. You could opt to layer this one over a coordinating base color, but I do think building up the layers and the flakes are really beautiful, and these blue flakes stand out gorgeously. I was happy with opacity in 2. Depending on your application, you might want to go in for 3, and here is the thermal transition. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Glow Job, and this is described as a deep berry red, and it'll be a bright pink magnetic glow. So when you hit it with the magnet, it does have the pink flash to it, and this one also has a generous smattering of scattered hollow. Here's our first coat of Glow Job. This one's super opaque here on this first coat, not totally opaque, so I am going to go in for 2. I also like to have my magnets completely opaque before I magnetize them. That way when the pigment pulls from the other areas, it doesn't leave any bald spots. This one you will want top coat for. It does dry dull, and removal on this one's going to be easy. So there is 2 coats. Next up we have Strawberry Milk Base Coat, and this is a strawberry milk colored base coat for a clean canvas. Here is the Strawberry Milk base coat. I'm going to do one coat of this in the video, but I am going to show you photos with 3 coats, and nothing has top coat today, so there's 1 coat. Next up we have Spice Spice Baby, and this is described as a shimmering squash colored polish full of hollow and a green to gold shifty shimmer. Here's our first coat of Spice Spice Baby. This one is so pumpkin spice, so fall, so gorgeous. Again, with her hollows, they're very hollow when you apply. They're more hollow when they're dried, and it'll be the most hollow when it's top coated and in the sunlight. I didn't have running, pooling, or staining, and removal was easy, so there's 2 coats. Up next we have Juicy Lucy, and this is described as a sheer hot pink. This one has iridescent bark glitters as well. Here's our first coat of Juicy Lucy, and I would just go ahead and say off the bat, this is stunning, beautiful, elegant, gorgeous. I love the bark glitters that are in here. They're dainty, they're fun. You will want top coat to finish this off. It does dry slightly textured, and removal will take a little bit of scrubbing, but look at this gorgeous, and look at the shifty in the photos. So there's 3 coats. And lastly for today we have Viagra, and this is described as a baby blue jelly full of flakes, hollow, and chameleon glitter. And here's our first coat of Viagra. This one is a little bit more on the sheer side, but again, that same smooth, easy to work with formula that I know Don Deeva for. This one is going to build to opacity in 3 coats. You will want top coat to finish this off. It does dry with some texture because of this glitter, and because of the glitter, it will be a little bit more difficult to remove. So there is 3 coats. So I did have 2 standouts this time, the first one being Moo Cow, a very obvious. This is a nice, beautifully grayed out crelly base, and it's got a variety of glitters in here. I think the thing that really caught my eye on this one though was these like navy blue glitters. They're very, very beautiful. They might be black, but in this color base they look navy, and I think it's stunning. And then of course the other one is Dookie. I love these kind of colors, and the fact that she put unicorn pea in one of these ugly pretty kind of duty colors is right up my alley. So this one is highly, highly a favorite of mine, and the Moo Cow is also just like a given for me. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.